Will Alek Manoah be returning to the Blue Jays rotation soon? Is Joey Votto a must-add bat? Join us today where we provide you with the best must-add players heading into Week 13 on this action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. Here, as always, my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Yainer.
Yo.
You can find us on all social media apps and podcasting platforms. If you're listening on one like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. It helps to grow the podcast, and it just means a lot to us in general. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes you to the podcast, also gives you a notification every time we drop a new episode. And once again, if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to like and comment because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. And also, if you want to talk fantasy baseball with us on a deeper, more personalized level, subscribe to us on Subtext because we are always responding there as soon as possible. Locked On Fantasy Baseball fans, we have a fully loaded episode for you today. As always, let us be your team's secret weapon, where we provide you with the best must-add waiver wire players heading into Week 13. Matt, my brother, who do we have up first today?
All right. After my mic cooperates, we're going to talk about Mr. Alek Manoah. It's a weird situation. To be honest, I didn't think that he would even be somebody we'd be talking about in terms of being a pickup or not. Manoah had a rough start. If you haven't seen how bad he's been, well, you know what? He's been pretty bad. 54% owned right now and probably still dropping. He is at least worth an ad. I mean, the upside is there, even though this horrendous season of it sucks to read this out loud through 13 games. He has a 6.98 ERA. He has, a 6.36 ERA, 58 innings pitched, a whopping 48 Ks, and a 1.897 whip. Now, here's the thing, right? Alek Manoah, you hear and you're like, oh, he should be pretty good because last year he had a phenomenal year with a 2.24 ERA. He pitched 196 innings, had 180 Ks, and a sub-1 whip. Now, that's the Alek Manoah we drafted him to be, and he ended up performing like a bottom-end pitcher. Now, here's the thing. I think his sub-3 ERA days are over. I think that he kind of returns more to like the 2021 season where he has like a 3.22 to 3.50 ERA, K per 9, you would hope for, with a 1.1 whip, and I'm okay with that. I think that's what we see moving forward. It seems like they kind of treated him being sent down like an injury. He threw bullpen sessions, simulated games. Now he's getting rehab starts pretty much because he's going to have his first minor league start. So maybe he's been hurt. Maybe something's wrong, and they're just treating him a little bit differently. Something is off with his mechanics or something of this sort. So Alek Manoah right now, here's how I'm just treating it. I added him actually right before we recorded this podcast. I think he's at least worth an ad. If you have him and you're debating on dropping him, I would hold unless you desperately need to drop him. I want to see what he does when he comes back. There's no guarantee. There is no guarantee he's going to come back and be great. But you know what? I'm a gambling man, and if I'm going to gamble on something, I have 2 years worth of a track record, and he has the talent. So therefore, I'm willing to place that bet on a horse returning to its form or close to its form. So Alek Manoah for me is an ad if he's available in your leagues. Sorry for the tangent of take, but I'm all over the place.
No, Matt, that was a strong take, and I agree with pretty much everything you said there. We have the track record with Manoah at this point, as you mentioned, so it's worth, at least adding him speculatively to see where it goes. If you have the room, if your team is doing very well and you have a bunch of really good players and you say, hey, I don't know if any of these guys are dropping at the moment, I can see you not wanting to add him. But if he's out there in the league and you have the room, go out there and add Manoah. My big concern is something Matt and I were talking about before the podcast is, to me, it looked like Alek Manoah gained a lot of weight, man. Him coming into spring training, that's one thing that really turned me off to him, and I had him fairly lower in my rankings than a lot of the other experts did. And he looked like a big boy. He was already big at 6'6". I think last year he was around 265, and they have him at 285 now. So the guy gained probably around 20 pounds. It wasn't muscle. He just looked looked fat. For lack of better terms, he looked fat. He looked out of shape, and it's kind of shown so far this season where he's really hasn't had one start that I look at and I'm like, oh, that's Alek Manoah. None of these starts look good at all. In his last simulated game, he threw 74 pitches. They're not really announcing the results from that. He's supposed to go up to, the minor leagues in his, next start. Let's see what he does. He was touching 94, which is around where he normally sits. He has a bullpen this weekend before the start in the minors. This is probably your chance to add him because if he goes out in the minors and he goes off, forget about it. He's going to be, back up to 100% owned very, very quickly. But I'm not expecting Manoah to turn back and be an ace. I don't think that's there. His FIP has always been way higher than his ERA. FIP is an ERA indicator, fielding independent pitching. If you're not familiar with it, he's always had pretty good control over his stuff. So a good whip can be there on his career. He's at 366 innings, 355 strikeouts. So he's right under that K per 9. So if you see a mid-threes ERA right under that K per 9, good whip, I think that's Manoah's upside at this point. But let's keep it pushing here. And let's talk about somebody that I'm a little bit more excited about than Manoah, and it's Brayan Bello. Brayan Bello, one of the top-end prospects for, the Red Sox, and he's finally been living up to the hype. And I wish my internet was working a little bit better. Are you with me? Okay, here we go. On the season, Bello, like I said, living up to the hype with a 3.27 ERA across 12 starts, 66 innings, 62 strikeouts, only 21 walks. Whip is a little high at a 1.27. He's actually giving up a lot of hits and not a lot of walks. So I like where the control's at. Sometimes you just get hit a little bit harder than others. And as long as he's not walking people, I can see that whip getting down to, a reasonable rate. And in the minor leagues, Bello is pretty good over his minor league career. That 2022 monster breakout season for him with 17 starts, 2.34 ERA, 96 innings, 129 Ks, a 104 whip. I think Brayan Bello has, all the upside in the world. He's 50% owned on Yahoo at the moment, and he is scheduled to face Miami Marlins on June 29th. So, you definitely want to get out there and snag Brayan Bello before, this train really takes off. Get on the bandwagon now for Brayan Bello.
Yeah, no, Bello, this is what we're saying because my guy is just killing it. I think he's absolutely fantastic. He's definitely worth an ad for sure. But let's move on. I don't need to cover anything. Dom did a fantastic job. Let's talk about Mr. McKenzie Gore, somebody I said to add earlier in the year. I'm a big fan of him. Sure. Here's the thing about McKenzie Gore. Over the last couple of weeks, it has not been pretty. He's had a couple bad starts. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bad starts out of 10. But the thing is, though, the Ks are there. The Ks are there. The whip isn't horrendous outside of 3, 4 starts. 1.5 is pretty bad, too, but it's not atrocious. McKenzie Gore, I think, is just figuring it out. And I think he made a turnaround his last start, which was today against the Padres, got the W. 9 Ks, a 1.8 ERA. Whip was high with a 1.4, but hey, it is what it is. He's still, I think, trying to strike everybody out because the guy is just a strikeout machine. Here's the thing: I'm going to return to what I was going with. McKenzie Gore this is the most innings pitched so far since he's been up in the bigs, or better yet, period. So the last time he pitched 100 innings in general is in 2019. 2020, he did not pitch clearly because of COVID. 2021, he had 50. 22, he had 87 between, bigs and minors. So this year he's already at 80 and he's approaching that. So one of those things I got to look at is maybe he's getting a little fatigue. I might see him get sent down soon, which is fine for me. Add him while he's hot, and let's see how long they let him stretch out. He might get sent down right before the All-Star break and then get called up right after. So McKenzie Gore might be due for a break, and that's the perfect time to add him as well, because as he gets sent down, people are probably going to drop him to, free up a roster spot to get somebody to help them win the week. Excuse me. So McKenzie Gore is definitely worth an add. So 100% take a look at him and add him once you see him available in your lineup, in your waivers. Okay.
And before I give my take on McKenzie Gore and we move on to an Orioles pitcher who has been on fire lately, and we talk about a guy from the Cincinnati Reds who has just come back from injury and he's been absolutely heating up, we need to talk about our sponsor today, and that's eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right price on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions may apply. And everydayers and new listeners, we've got exciting news for you regarding our podcast. Matt and I are thrilled to introduce our new campaign on the Subtext website, where we'll be offering a personalized and in-depth experience just for you. By subscribing to Locked On Fantasy Baseball on the Subtext website and becoming a member of the exclusive Everydayers Diamond Club, you'll gain unlimited direct access to us through one-on-one texting conversations. As a part of the Diamond Club, you'll receive instant alerts and expert opinions on prospect call-ups, injuries, and detailed waiver wire recommendations. But that's not all. We'll also be promptly answering all your fantasy baseball questions and are here for you to talk about baseball whenever you want. Subscribing to our Subtext service will give you a significant advantage over your competition and greatly increase your chances of winning an Everydayers championship. You can find the link to subscribe in the description of this video, podcast, and on our link tree, which is available in all of our social media bios. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity. Sign up now with a free 14-day trial with Matt and I by your side. We'll help you bring home that coveted Everydayers championship. Join us on Subtext today. But all right, guys, let me hop back in here. And let me give my quick take on McKenzie Gore. Matt, I heard about, I think, 50% of what you said because my internet decided to, crop out on me there for a minute. Big strikeout guy. The ERA and the whip kind of have been up and down so far this year. He's had a lot of good starts and a lot of bad starts. But out of his total starts, there's been 6 quality starts mixed in there. So I think McKenzie Gore at, what is he still? Only 24 years old. I think some people that have been around baseball and fantasy baseball for the last couple of years may not realize that he's still only 24 because going back to 2017, 2018, when he was a very, very high-end prospect coming up with San Diego, we expected the world out of him. He had a great 2019 season in the minors, and then, he was kind of bad again in 2021 and 2022. But this kid still got a lot of time to figure it out. He's got very, very elite stuff. And I think Matt mentioned his last start against San Diego where he had, came today, 9 strikeouts, gave up a run. The whip wasn't great, but he got the win over 5 innings. I think McKenzie Gore, 47% owned on Yahoo, needs to be owned a lot more. But let's keep things pushing here. Matt, you want to grab this next guy for us, brother? Give me a little break here from talking.
It's all good, bro.
Appreciate it, brother.
Do a little mouth workout right before the show next time. All right. Now we're gonna talk about Mr. Kyle Bradish, and I'm gonna stop making fun of Dom. So Kyle has been performing pretty well over the last 2 weeks. Well, actually, that's not even going to be accurate because he performed today as well. So today he had a win. He had 7 Ks, a 2.57 ERA, and a 0.57 WHIP against Seattle, which is a nice team, nice start. He went up against Tampa Bay the week before, got 8 Ks, got the W, a 3.6 ERA. Love that. Toronto went 7, only got 1 K, but only gave up a run. And I mean, he's looking like he's performing pretty well. I don't know how long-term he is with this. I'm not too familiar with Bradish's career in total, but this is what I'm looking at, and this is what I'm seeing right now. He's performing. He is going to be going up against either Cincinnati, and I can't see his the next opponent throughout the week. But, I mean, Baltimore's on a roll. Baltimore looks like a well-oiled machine that's ready for the playoffs. So Bradish could be somebody that can definitely get you a win if he's on his game, and looks like he's going to get you the strikeout. So I definitely say add Kyle Bradish. Now, I'm not running to the waiver wires to go add him, but if I need a pitcher for this weekend, I may consider adding him and being like, okay, he's going to get the job done for me. I'll probably get him on Friday going into the weekend, and hopefully it's a great start. So that I would definitely say add Kyle Bradish. Sorry, Dom's internet is horrendous tonight. Probably didn't hear a word I just said. Nope. Okay. I'm going to move on. We're going to talk about Mr. Bryan Woo. Mr. Woo. Bryan Woo came out, got his call this week. Sorry, we're having a lot of technical difficulties this week today. But, I mean, he had a rough start off to his MLB career with a 27 ERA against the Texans. But, it happens. You get up to the bigs, you get smacked around a little bit. This is what happens. You're elevating your play. But since then, he has bounced back quite nicely. Against the Angels, he had 7 Ks and a 3.86 ERA. Against the White Sox, he had 9 Ks and a 3.18 ERA. And against the Yankees, without Aaron Judge, of course, he didn't give up a single run, had 5 Ks, and got the W and a sub-1 ERA. Honestly, he's had a nice whip this whole time, too. Only that one bad start. He had a high 4 whip. Other than that, it's been about in the 1 or sub-1 for most of these. So Woo is somebody I would say definitely add at 17% owned. He's out there in a lot of leagues, and he is going to get the job done for you. He's going on Tuesday against the Washington Nationals. They have not really been formidable, so he does stand a chance to go out there and get you a nice start. So Bryan Woo is definitely somebody you should go and scoop up. And really, that's really all I have on Bryan Woo. Looks like Dom is having complete internet shutdown today. So it's the Matt Show. Welcome to Locked On Fantasy Matt. But anyway, let's go on here. Let's talk about a great name here. Somebody that has finally returned, and that's Mr. Joey Votto. Joey Votto, love him. Missed him. So glad you're back, bud. Mr. Votto has been just absolutely nuking the ball since he's returned. Welcome back, Dom. Yeah, he has this last week.
Matt, I'm sorry, guys, and I'm sorry, Matt.
It's all good. It's all good, man. It's all good. Do you want to take Votto, or your internet's still being horrendous?
I'm trying to tap back in here. Let's
Okay.
see if my internet wants to work with me here and pull up some Joey Votto stats. But if you're already on a roll, go for it. By all means, my brother, keep going.
All right, sounds good. So Joey Votto in this last week has actually had an incredible week. His first week back from the injury, 4 runs, 3 bombs, 7 ribs, batting .294. Like, man, Joey Votto, way to make a statement. Way to look like your old self. We haven't seen this kind of great numbers in a while from him. Last year was nothing to be proud of, where he batted .205. He only had 11 home runs, only made it about 322 at bats last year. So Votto has been struggling with injuries. Let's see how long Votto stays healthy. Let's see if this is something that he's going to bounce back fully with. But I want to add him everywhere I can. If you need a first baseman and you lost Vinny Pasquantino, he may be your long-term solution, or at least until he gets hurt, and then we'll figure out who to replace him with next. But Joey Votto 100% needs to be added in all leagues just based off of his play. He's still only 29% owned. So, guys, please go out there and add Joey Votto. All right. Dom is really having some bad internet. It's
This
fine.
has been so bad.
Yo, just sit there and look pretty. It's fine. Just listen to what I got to say. You know what? We're going to take a quick break.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if you hear me now, but
It's all good. We're going to take a quick break. We got a bunch of great names here. Names that you're going to want to hear. So stick around for it, even though Dom keeps popping in and out of here. All right. Thank you, guys. We're back. We're going to talk about Mr. Ha-Seong Kim. My guy has been performing as well. I like him, you know, with that second base eligibility, third base eligibility, that shortstop eligibility. The only thing he's missing is catcher and outfield and first. Let's just add that for him. But he's been doing his thing. This last week is absolutely bananas. And today, he has 6 runs after today, 3 bombs this week, 7 ribs, 2 stolen bases, batting .333 over the last 2 weeks. He's hitting about .310. And the whole month, he's hitting about .288. Now, Kim isn't somebody that's going to blow you away or maintain this kind of production in terms of the counting stats, but he is going to get you batting average this season so far. I mean, he's batting about .250, but the last month he's on a hot streak. And you know what my rule is, man. Batting average off the waiver wire is a must add for me. Kim over the last month is pointing in all directions of a must add just based off of that. And he's producing in the counting stats categories. So I'm really excited about this. So if you're down on a second baseman, you weren't able to scoop up anybody. If you're down on a shortstop, he's a nice small band-aid that you can, slot in and then move on. So Kim, definitely add. Is what it is. So looks like Dom is officially tuning out for the rest of the pod. So you're here with me, and we're just going to keep rolling here. It's going to be quicker. So Mr. Diaz here. I'm not even going to try and butcher his name because Yainer Diaz, I can't do it. But catcher from Houston, he has had a good week. He had 2 runs, 2 bombs, 5 ribs, batting .346. I love that, especially out of the catching position. Catcher has been absolutely atrocious. So with that, I say, hey, I would love to just add my guy here and say, boom, this is what I need from my life is Mr. Diaz. Who's my catcher in this league, I actually had to go and add this dude because I have Moreno, and Gabriel Moreno has not been performing anywhere relatively close to how I thought he was going to perform. So I scooped up him, and Diaz has just been doing his thing for the week for me, and I've been streaming catcher nonstop. So everybody that we brought up in the catcher position, I have added and I have used as my catcher going week in and week out. You can stream catcher because they don't produce. But let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. TJ. I can't even say that. Friedl, or Fried. I'm just going to go Fried. Sorry for my pronunciation, guys. I truly apologize. It is just not my night. I'm a little thrown off with Dom not being on here, so I apologize. But we're going to get through this. He has been performing. My guy over the last 2 weeks has had 8 runs, a bomb, 7 ribs, 5 stolen bases, batting .310. So already I don't need to say the rule again about the batting average, but there it is. The Reds are rocking and rolling. He looks great. Those 2-week stats are phenomenal. He's not going to blow you away with power. That's just not him. But stolen bases are a big one. Batting average are a big one. And, with Elly De La Cruz in that lineup, how don't you want to add him if he's getting on base and stealing bases? Elly might be able to drive him home and get the job done for you. So, add Mr. TJ 100% and see where life takes you. Short term, at least, he is only 24% owned outfield. So go for it. All right, let's move on. Let's get this last guy, Elias Diaz. Sorry, I have to pull him up as well. Van Dom, we're gonna have to get you, a little Wi-Fi upgrade, man. But Elias Diaz again here. We've been talking about him on and off every week. Diaz has been performing really well. This last week, he has 4 runs, 2 bombs, 6 ribs, and batting .250. I love it. He's not nuking my batting average. He's getting me bombs, getting me runs, getting me ribbies this week. I'm all about it. over 2 weeks. He's hitting 279. I love that. He has 11 ribs through 2 weeks. Didn't change on the bombs, only had 2 runs. But I mean, hey, I'm okay with this. Again, I always talk about this. Catcher is atrocious. They're not going to produce the way we want them to. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is. Elias Diaz is going to be somebody that you can add, roll out there until he flops, and then you go on to the next one. And we're going to keep giving you catchers each and every week on one of the 2 episodes of the waiver wires. So, you want to look out. You want to get the Elias Diaz's, the guys that are hot, and just stream the position until you find a long-term solution. Or, hey, maybe this is just working for you. Just waste an ad every week on a catcher that's going to do pretty good and has a bunch of good matchups. Whatever works, it is what it is. It's like streaming tight ends and streaming quarterbacks in fantasy football. It's very easily done, especially with a position that really doesn't matter all that much because catchers really don't produce unless you get a JT Realmuto. So it is what it is. But all right, guys, I'm going to close out the show here, and I'm going to say, hey, thank you for bearing with us and our horrendous internet on Dom's half. He really sucks today, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for being with us and making us your first listen each and every day. Make sure you look out for tomorrow's episode where we do watch lists and IL stashes. So, it's going to be another good one here. We always give you some good names and some people to check out. And again, check out our subtext, try it out for 14 days. If, you don't like talking to us, I completely understand. We can get annoying, and you could just chill out with the podcast. But if you do enjoy talking to us, you like getting some fantasy baseball knowledge, or you just want to support the show, it's the best way to just get involved with us and help support the show. And we can keep doing this each day, day in and day out. We really love doing it for you guys. We love doing this podcast. So thank you, everybody. And thank you to our current subscribers. All right, guys, until next week. Until tomorrow, not next week, man, it's just been a day. Take care, guys.